Dr. Simone Gold's latest book, Selective Persecution: The Legalization of American Fascism, released this week, offers a compelling narrative of her experiences during the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath. As a board-certified emergency physician and attorney, Dr. Gold organized the White Coat Summit in July 2020, asserting that COVID-19 was treatable and that the ensuing panic was more detrimental than the disease itself. This event garnered over 20 million views within 8 hours, catapulting her into the national spotlight. Subsequently, she faced severe repercussions, including a violent FBI raid, federal imprisonment, and professional censure from various institutions, which she attributes to her dissenting views on public health policies. Much of this is depicted in Chris Burgard's harrowing film, Capital Punishment, starring one of our other guests tonight, Nick Searcy. In her book, Dr. Gold argues that these actions exemplify a broader trend of governmental overreach and suppression of free speech, drawing parallels to authoritarian regimes. We now welcome my friend, physician, attorney, and founder of America's Frontline Doctors, Dr. Simone Gold. Hi, Simone.
Wonderful to be here, Christian. Thank you for inviting me.
In Selective Persecution, you detail the personal and professional consequences you faced after the White Coat Summit. How do you believe your experiences reflect broader issues of governmental overreach and suppression of dissenting voices?
I think my story is a cautionary tale. It's true that I was at the front, the tip of the spear, so to speak. But if this could happen to me, it can really happen to any American. I was really the top of our American social structure in terms of achieving educational accolades and position, right? I'm a doctor and a lawyer, mom, peaceful, living in Los Angeles. But I spoke out against policies that were different than the government said. I spoke out against public health policies that I felt were wrong, I knew were wrong. And this put me right in crosshairs of the government and the media. And I started speaking publicly everywhere I could because I was censored in person. I was censored online so heavily by Zuckerberg and every social media company. So one of those speaking engagements was January 6th at the Capitol. I had a permit to speak there. And of course, the day went not as planned. And I was squarely in the government's crosshairs at this point. And what happened to me as a result of being present on the Capitol grounds with a government-issued permit is shocking that it could happen to any peaceful American citizen. And that's actually why I wrote this book. We could not have gotten to the point where a person like me gets thrown into prison, and a maximum security prison is subjected to a violent FBI SWAT team raid on her home, breaking down the door. That could not happen if the infrastructure for tyranny wasn't already in place in America. So I explain all this in the book, and I explain how COVID revealed a lot of tyranny in the medical system, and I explain how the J6 debacle and its fallout, there's a lot of tyranny in the Department of Justice and in the judiciary.
Now, Dr. Gold, given that dual background you mentioned in medicine and law, what reforms would you advocate to protect medical professionals who challenge prevailing public health narratives, ensuring both scientific integrity and freedom of speech?
We're slowly winning these battles. We have to always allow free speech, always. I'm a free speech absolutist. Our government agencies, our state medical boards were going after doctors for saying things that the state thought was unpopular. They targeted me. They tried to pull my medical license, Christian, in California for speaking out for early treatment like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, and I battled them in court for 3 years. So when we ask for policy changes, the answer is some people have to get up and push back and fight back. That fight took me 3 years, and I prevailed against the California Medical Board. This set precedent in California. The California now is going to think more carefully about ever restricting a doctor's free speech again. So the answer is you need individual people to fight back on tyrannical policies. And I would say the most important issue to fight back on is free speech.
Now, in a tragedy reported by Cheryl Atkinson, 18-month-old twins Dallas and Tyson died a week after receiving routine vaccinations, prompting a police investigation of their parents, despite the children's immediate post-vaccine illness and a family history of adverse reactions. Now, experts suggest that such cases reflect a broader underreported pattern of infant deaths temporarily linked to immunizations. Given RFK Jr.'s recent policy shifts, such as removing COVID-19 vaccine recommendations for healthy children and pregnant women without CDC advisory input, what reforms do you believe are necessary in our current vaccination protocols to ensure safety and informed consent?
Much like I was advocating for absolute free speech, we absolutely cannot have mandates, period, hard stop. No mandates. That is problem number one to solve, to make sure we never have mandates. Right behind that, we have to make sure that we do what Secretary Kennedy has outlined, which is you have to have placebo-controlled trials. You have to test the thing that you think works or is good against sugar water, salt water, right? You have to test those things side by side, which hasn't happened with the vaccines. So Secretary Kennedy is all over that. That's what must happen. But keep your eye on no mandates ever.
So with the CDC's updated guidance that now emphasize, quote, shared clinical decision making for COVID-19 vaccinations in children, how can we improve the transparency and accuracy of vaccine injury reporting systems like VAERS to protect patients and inform public health decisions?
So VAERS VAERS is very important, but it doesn't work very well. And I think that's intentional. I think what every person needs is a truth-telling doctor who will stand by their side and put the doctor-patient relationship first. I know from experience that the medical industrial complex does not do that. I know from experience how difficult it is to find a truth-telling doctor who puts your interests first. That's something that us independent doctors have gotten together. We want to provide a solution to the American people. And for example, on this issue of COVID shots, I invite everybody, come to goldcare.com. We do free medical town halls every month. This Tuesday night, June 10th, I believe it is, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Zoom, we will live stream all about the COVID shot, the spike protein. Steve Kirsch will be one of our guests. That's the answer, is to educate yourself. When you're armed with this information, you can be a better consumer and you can keep yourself safe.
So tell us what legal avenues exist for families seeking justice after vaccine-related injuries or deaths, and what changes would you advocate to support these families more effectively, reparations?
It's very difficult. I don't want to raise people's hopes. It's very difficult to get compensation if you've been vaccine injured. It's very difficult. There's a long, complicated answer. I would advocate that people become educated and make their own decisions about if they should have vaccines or not. There's an excellent new book out, not by me, called Vax Facts Book. That is the leading book, in my opinion, on which vaccines to take and when. It was written by Dr. Paul Thomas. I would say, rather than thinking of the legal solution, is just don't get yourself in that situation. For those people who have been harmed, I invite you especially to come on Tuesday night and hear about the treatments for vaccine injury.
And finally, tell us about Gold Care.
Gold Care is very exciting. This is the answer that you've been waiting for. These are the independent doctors who only work for you, who only work for the doctor-patient relationship. We charge only $10 a month because we want every single American to come join us. And what you get for that is all this educational material included, videos, classes, all of that included. And if you need to see a truth-telling doctor, you just pay as you go for that visit. It's really a revolutionary way to access truth-telling doctors.
Dr. Simone Gold, thanks so much for coming on. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you, Christian.
Stay tuned. We discuss major international developments shaping the global order with Joseph Robertson.